Rhode Island Governor Gina Raimondo has proclaimed herself a pro-business Democrat, but some of her policies have drawn criticism from the business community. Mark Murphy is the editor of the Providence Business News. The cover story in the current edition of the paper delves into that headline. In the print edition, a partner with business, which you asked her directly and she answered directly. She is pro-business.
Yeah, we interviewed her at the beginning of her first term. We decided we wanted to interview her now at the beginning of the second term, talk about the progress that the economy has made. One of the things that a lot of businesses, especially small businesses, are not happy about is her continued push to raise the minimum wage. I mean, sort of the perceived wisdom is you raise the minimum wage, and what happens is companies, especially small companies, can't afford to hire more people. And there's been a lot of research on that issue over the last couple of decades, and that's not clear at all. In fact, there's a lot of the research points to the fact that companies don't curtail their hiring, and the fact that people who are at the bottom of the wage scale actually spend more of their money than those who are at the top of the scale. So it actually helps the economy more.
Now, did you learn that independently, those studies, or is she citing those studies as her reason for being in favor of raising?
Actually, I've read it recently, and she's citing them as well. So it's not some obscure economist. It's actually pretty mainstream at this stage.
Other issues being brought up in this pretty wide-ranging interview involves why they extended the contract with that infamous Deloitte consulting company for the benefits computer and all of its problems, extended the contract even with all the problems.
Well, and she said this in other places too, but there were a couple of things going on. Number one, the state got a lot of discounts and continued work. Secondly, she said, for someone else to come in, they would have to build a brand new system. And as many problems as this system had, there's no guarantee that a new system wouldn't have just as many, if not more. And she said they've been performing well, and people aren't having nearly as many problems as they've continued to work through the bugs. So she felt like it was a better deal for the taxpayers, and really in the long run it was going to be a much better deal.
Lots of other topics discussed too, including she's concerned, talking politically now, about the extremists in her party, also the extremists in the other party.
Well, one of the things that stuck out, we interviewed all of the gubernatorial candidates before the election, and one of the things that struck me is she said, I'm doing my job. And I think that that's really what the basis of this is. She says the job requires a certain amount of compromise. You can't be dogmatic about certain things. And she feels like with each party being controlled or being in the fear of being controlled by the extremes, you can't get compromised, you can't get things done. And that really matters to her.
And there's a lot more in this interview in the current edition, in print and online, of the Providence Business News. Mark Murphy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Frank.